With the impending millennium rattling the cultural cage, a new breed of bands is creating its own chaos, infusing the seemingly narrow genre of heavy metal with fresh influences, pushing it into bold new directions.
All of a sudden you see all the rock guys liking rap and liking, going back and saying oh, this music was cool, 80s music and stuff like that.
We're now in a time where you can mix all of those forms of music together freely without anybody saying, well, you're a sellout, or you're this, or you're that.
Go! With fans accepting the hip-hop bravado of Korn and the ghoulish grind of Rob Zombie, the door has swung open for groups who explore other areas previously off-limits to the metal kingdom.
Every band that comes out is sounds like Korn and whatnot, so I definitely want to do something different.
We're influenced more by, say, drum and bass and a lot of different electronica and stuff. I think that kind of shows in our music.
Don't be afraid of it, just technology.
We don't want our guitars to sound like guitars. I mean, you can only play the same E chord or the same A chord, F sharp, just, you know what I mean? You can only play that in so many different ways before you're just okay, enough already,
That's one thing I didn't really want to become, was one of those bands that sang about, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We've always pretty much kept a constant theme going through all our records, digital versus organic, man versus machine.
One of the biggest influences I always mention is the book 1984, another movie is Terminator.
We've always tried to set ourselves apart, from a certain genre, and I think that we've been successful.
Not everybody's going to like System of a Down, but you can't ignore System of a Down. I see it as an artsy form of heavy, hardcore music. There's parts that aren't very metal, so how can you call a part that's a waltz metal? It's mixed with metal influences and hardcore and punk and goth and all sorts of stuff. We just want to be able to play anything we want, put any influences in our music that we want, and just be as creative as possible.
So what do these divergent groups have in common? Among other things, Coal Chamber.
We all kind of came up together, so any of us that get any kind of press, it's kind of a big deal for all of us, and we all kind of try to push each other a little bit.
The band pushes things even further with chamber music, one of the most eagerly anticipated hard rock albums of the year.
This record, we experimented a lot with sounds and keyboards and different vocal effects. Definitely gonna have more of a dark element. That's the whole spooky term.
So what will all of this experimentation mean for the future of metal?
To bring it all into metal, and it always seems to work. As long as that aggression is still there and that heavy guitar is still there, it always seems to work.
I would hang our hat up with metal. That's great. Right on the hat rack. But understand, as sun comes through the windows, you're going to see different shades on that hat. So that's probably what you get with all of these bands,